All right, today we're jumping into a pretty radical idea. What if an illness isn't just a random problem that needs to be fixed? What if it's actually a solution? A solution to a problem you don't even know you have? We're going to explore the argument that sometimes an illness is actually serving a strategic purpose. Let's get into it.
So let's start with a situation that probably sounds familiar. You've got a friend or maybe a family member, and they are really truly struggling with depression. And your first thought, of course, is, how do I help them? It's a totally natural, caring response.
And our first instinct, right? It's always the same. We've got to cure it. We want to take away the pain, get rid of the illness, so they can just get back to being their normal selves. It seems like the only logical, compassionate thing to do.
But here is where things get really interesting. What if trying to just rip that illness away is the worst thing you could do? What if, on some deep, unconscious level, that person needs their depression right now, and taking it away would actually make their life even harder? It's a really challenging thought, but it's the key to this whole perspective.
Okay, so let's dig into this core concept. The argument is that an illness, and this could be mental or physical, might not just be your body or your mind malfunctioning. It could be providing a service. It's solving a problem that the person feels completely unable to solve any other way. So when we say utility, what do we actually mean? Well, in this context, it's not that the illness is good for you. Not at all. It's that it's useful. Think of it like a tool. It's a tool that lets a person do something they desperately need to do, or maybe even more importantly, to stop doing something they just can't take anymore. And wow, this analogy really hits home. Trying to cure the illness is like trying to convince your friend to dump their toxic partner. From the outside, all you can see is the damage, the pain, the problems. But to your friend, that relationship is meeting some kind of deep need. And when you try to help, it doesn't feel like help at all. It feels like an attack.
Okay, this might still feel a little abstract. So let's look at a powerful example to see how this alibi actually works in the real world.
Let's picture this. You've got this world-famous singer. He is at the absolute peak of his career. He's got huge contracts, big-name sponsors, millions of fans who adore him. But here's the secret. He's completely burned out. He doesn't want to do it anymore, but he feels trapped. How can he possibly walk away from all that?
And this is where it all clicks into place. Look at the left column. If the singer just says, you know what, I'm done, what happens? He's seen as a quitter, a diva. His fans get angry. The sponsors might sue. But look at the right column. What if instead he gets diagnosed with depression? Suddenly everything changes. The illness gives him permission to rest, to say no, to cancel the tour. The perception isn't he's a quitter anymore, it's he needs our help. The response shifts from anger to compassion. You see? The depression solved an impossible problem for him.
Now you might be thinking, okay, that's a 1 in a million celebrity case, but the argument here is that this same dynamic, this unconscious protection, can play out in anyone's life. An illness can become a kind of shield when we feel like we have no other options.
Just think about all the different needs an illness could secretly be meeting. For the person who is constantly taking care of everyone else, getting sick might be the only way they can finally get some rest. For someone in a rocky marriage, it might be a way to avoid that one big fight that could end everything. It can be a way to get attention, to be excused from work, or even, and this one is tough, a way to punish someone by making them care for you, all without you having to be the bad guy.
And this is probably the most controversial part of the whole idea. The argument goes that sometimes the utility isn't even for the sick person. Imagine a couple whose marriage is falling apart. They're on the verge of divorce. But then their child gets seriously ill. Suddenly, they have to come together. They have a common purpose, a common enemy to fight. In a strange, unconscious way, the child's illness is serving the parents' need to stay together.
Okay, so if an illness is serving a purpose, what do? You can't just leave it there, right? Of course not. The goal isn't to stay sick. The goal is to understand the illness so deeply that it becomes, well, obsolete. It's about tackling the reason for the illness, not just covering up the symptoms.
And this ancient quote just sums it up perfectly. See, healing isn't just about making a symptom go away. It's about being ready, truly ready, to change the things in your life that made you sick to begin with. For that singer we talked about, getting better doesn't just mean his depression magically vanishes. It means he's finally ready to stand up and tell his fans and sponsors no without needing an illness as his excuse.
So here's the proposed game plan, broken down into 3 steps. First, you have to reveal the utility. You've got to figure out why the illness is there. What job is it doing? Second, you create a conscious choice. You bring it out into the open so the person can see the trade-off they're making. And finally, step 3, and this is the most important one, you find a healthier way. Can that singer learn how to set boundaries? Can that overworked person learn to ask for a break? If you can find a better, healthier tool to do the same job, the old tool, the illness, is no longer needed.
And that brings us to the final question, and it's a big one to really sit with. Ask yourself this: what would get worse in your life if you got better? If that problem you've been struggling with just disappeared tomorrow, what would you suddenly have to face? What difficult conversation would you have to have? What big decision could you no longer put off? The answer to that question might just tell you the hidden purpose your problem has been serving all along.